Okay, so I just got back from watching Jurassic World. I guess I haven't gotten back. I'm actually still at the theater, and oh my god, look at that lighting. Look at that golden hour. That is peak camera quality right there. But no, I just got done seeing Jurassic World Dominion, and I have some thoughts about it actually. Some good, some bad. It wasn't exactly what I wanted, but also exactly what I wanted. Make sense of that. We'll be right back. So Jurassic World Dominion picks up right after Fallen Kingdom left off, where now the dinosaurs are free and they are a part of our everyday society. Now going into this, I was actually excited by that premise. Jurassic World 1 I thought was pretty okay. Now Fallen Kingdom I didn't like as much. It kind of felt like two different movies. The first half they were trying to get off the island as the volcano was erupting, and the second half was all about like all the dinosaurs stuck in a haunted mansion, like a Luigi's haunted mansion. I don't know, I wasn't exactly a fan of the last one, but with the returning cast, I was kind of looking forward to seeing what they would bring to it. And I'm not gonna lie, I do like Jurassic Park, the original. I didn't grow up with it, and I wasn't as attached to it like I was with Star Wars or Back to the Future. But that being said, it's a really solid movie, one of Spielberg's best. So seeing this sort of conclusion to both the original and this trilogy, I had some thoughts, I had some expectations, and overall, it was okay. Two things I absolutely wanted to see are the dinosaurs interacting with everyday people in our world and the original cast returning. And for the most part, it delivered on one of those things, and the other things not so much. The dinosaurs interacting in our world was easily the best part of the movie. The first 20 minutes, I was sitting there, I was looking at all these scenes of pterodactyls in Central Park, and the long neck thing, the long, what was that, a bronchitis? What the hell is it? Bronchiosaur? The long-necked dinosaur. Like, seeing those out in the wilderness, it's a really interesting visual, and I think that it's something that the franchise was building towards. This was the movie and the premise that they were trying to set up since the first Jurassic World. That's why it was called Jurassic World, and it took them 3 movies to get to it. That being said, after the first 20 minutes is when the plot kicked in. And I'm not going to say the plot sucked, but it was all revolving around... This old lady was staring at me. Anyway, I'm gonna do my movie review, lady. So, it was all revolving around this clone girl. If you saw the last movie, you know that there's a clone girl, and she is basically the MacGuffin of the movie. She is the object that the evil company wants, that the characters are trying to find, and I just wasn't invested in this girl's story. I thought she was kind of a brat. No disrespect to the young actress, but you guys know how I feel about children in movies. They kind of annoy me. And this lady kind of reminds me why. No, again, no disrespect. I'm sure she's very nice, but I didn't really get the whole hype of them trying to save her. On top of that, you have another plot line about locusts. Yeah, it turns out the original cast is only here to experiment and try to find out what's happening with these giant locusts. And I wasn't exactly invested in that storyline. It felt like, hold on, my hands are shaky. Like Michael J. Fox. Anyway, so I wasn't as invested in that, and that was the whole reason they were there. Now, Laura Dern was easily the best performance of the OG3. She was great. She was funny when she needed to be. She was like action-packed and heroic. I loved her. Alan Grant, played by Sam Neill, was okay. Jeff Goldblum felt like he did not want to be there. Every time he was on screen, I was looking at him, and just look at his face. The dude is like checked out. He's only here for a paycheck, and I don't know, I was kind of disappointed. He's the Goldblum, man. Everyone loves Jeff Goldblum. I like him because we share the same first name. This is also a weird complaint, and I never really noticed crap like this, but the editing in this movie is also really strange. For example, the little girl is right next to a velociraptor, and it's just her and the velociraptor, and then the bigger one comes out, and all of a sudden the camera cuts back, and Chris Pratt's just there. Like, it doesn't show him walking towards there, he just shows up there. And it does that a few times, where like characters are walking up a ladder, and then the T-Rex trying to kill him, like, turns its head, and then by the time the T-Rex turns its head back a second later, all the characters are already on the platform they were trying to It was a lot of weird editing, and I feel like that in the same way the second movie was 2 movies, this movie felt like 2 movies. But it wasn't like Fallen Kingdom, where it was the first half one story, second half one story. This movie felt like two random stories kind of battling it out. One story dealt with Chris Pratt and the Bryce Dallas Howard trying to get their like clone daughter back. And the other story dealt with the OG cast investigating locusts. And after the first 20 minutes of the excitement wears off, the dinosaurs sort of become a backdrop. And the thing is, the first Jurassic Park movie is centered on characters trying to get out of a park with dinosaurs. The storyline revolved around them. And now it seems like they were just kind of in the background, which is not something you do in a Jurassic Park movie. Now, that being said, the visuals were fantastic, probably the best of all these three movies. And some of the action set pieces genuinely had me on the edge of my seat. Now, that could be because I don't really give a flying crap about Chris Pratt or Bryce Dallas Howard, so during the battle, I thought that any of them could die at any time because I really wasn't emotionally invested in their journey. It was, yeah, a little bit disappointing. I think it is a smidge better than Fallen Kingdom, but I still prefer Jurassic World 1. That was a solid movie, that one. The only subplot that I didn't like in that one and the second movie was the military trying to, like, train raptors and dinosaurs to make them, like, weapons. I never understood that plot line. If you wanted to have a weapon, you just point a gun and shoot. But this whole wraparound process of shooting a laser pointer at a target and letting the raptors go at it just seems like so many extra steps that are unnecessary. Again, I don't want to come off too negative. This is a fun summer blockbuster, and I recommend that you do see it. But it was certainly a letdown, and the two storylines that were competing just didn't really have any emotional resonance. Some of the other characters kind of felt unnecessary, and there was a lot going on. This is nearly 2.5 hours, and it kind of dragged on by the time the movie was ending. I'm like, all right, let's wrap it up. Let's go, people. And this character, this evil corporate bad guy scientist man, I don't know what notes the director gave him, but he was bizarre. Every line reading he gave was so weird. I'll put it to you like this. Every time the camera cut to this guy and a scene with him was starting, the people around me would get up and use the restroom. Like, there was a lot of kids in my auditorium, so they would all leave whenever this guy would pop up. Again, no disrespect to the actor, but whatever notes you were given were not good. Overall, Jurassic World Dominion was a little bit of a letdown. I do think that the action with the dinosaurs is fun to see. It looks the best it's been in all three movies, but a lot of the characters kind of felt unnecessary. They were trying to save this girl, and they were trying to stop these bugs. That's something you want to see in a Jurassic Park movie, right? Them trying to stop bugs. And I don't know, some of the OG cast kind of felt like they were phoning it in. Overall, I will say it was like a C-. If you have a chance to see it matinee price, I do recommend it, but don't pay full price. Thank you guys so much for watching. Look out for part 2 of that MCU movie tier list coming next week. And as always, go with Jeff, and you're guaranteed a good win.